Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me here tonight. We're hopefully got a little bit of technical issues on the other end. Todd with DAT, the product manager over there, was going to join us, talk to us about some of the new things that they have coming out and what they're working on. And we haven't been able to get him up. So if he joins us here in a little bit, we'll bring him on board. First, what I want to do though, is I want to thank our sponsors, FreightWeb. When you put a group of really smart people in a room together and you say, hey, we got a problem in the small business section. Here we got Todd coming on here a second. We'll jump in here. One second. So when you have a bunch of smart people and they get in a room together, it's really interesting to see how they can come together and come up with some great things. Had the first kind of beta release last week, so really excited to start following them. You can let me put their website up here for you. Check out myfreightweb.com and we'll get started right there. So I see we got the video down below here of Todd. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to bring him in here, and let's add. Hey Todd, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. Wasn't sure if you're having technical issues we were going to be able to get here, so I'm glad you could show up here. I didn't have a chance to introduce you. I wanted to see that everything was going to be working as we got jumping off here. But real briefly, Todd, as I was mentioning to people as we got started here, he is the product manager. Actually, full title there. You can Todd is the product development manager.
Marketing
manager. I knew there was a word in the middle there. As a product marketing manager for DAT on the carrier side, and they brought out a lot of new things. They've been making a lot of changes here, and since our goal here is to try to help owner operators and small carriers make more money and figure things out in this time, I thought it'd be very appropriate to get Todd on here so that he can talk about some of the things that they're doing on their side to help people just like yourself make more money in this market. So thanks for joining us here, Todd.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to kind of, I guess, show off my office here, since we're working from home at DAT. I think we're about 10 weeks on. Haven't been into the office in a while, but I got to put on my DAT shirt and feel, I guess it's on the side, right? And feel like I'm kind of in the office again.
There you go. Yeah. We were chatting yesterday, so I got to point out to some people, if you look at his background, those are all pictures that his kids have done for him. So I'm the old man here, right? So if I did that, I got to get my grandkids to get me pictures, because unfortunately my kids are old enough now that they'd all get together and they'd make a drinking game out of how to create the most embarrassing picture to put behind me. So I'm just going to have to go with the grandkids on that for my side.
So, yeah, I totally understand. We had to keep them busy somehow, so we made it a little game that they could, kind of create a drawing or whatever and bring it down to Dad, and then we, go through the whole process of finding the right place on the wall for it. So this is all not by chance; it's all meticulously orchestrated and curated for my background.
Yeah, that's great. I'm fortunate in the fact that we've worked from home for years, so there hasn't been a lot of change for us, but. My daughter, got a kid in kindergarten and has been home. I mean, he was excited about school too. The only things I feel sorry for, I really feel sorry for the kids that are excited about school in the early, kindergarten, first, second grade, and then those graduates. I can't imagine, 2020, you're graduating high school, you're graduating college, and you pretty much can't do anything but, do a virtual graduation. So, it's a lot of changes going on out there. And I think this is one of those things that we're all going to remember rest of our lives. So, so what's your guys' schedule? Are you guys back in the office soon, or are you still out for the duration?
Yeah. I mean, we're fortunate that we can, for DAT, we can do all our responsibilities at home. So we're trying to be flexible with when we're going back to the office. And I don't think we have an official date to return to the office yet. I've heard anything from, sometime in June to maybe September. But we're, trying to kind of play it by ear, seeing when the right time to come back would be. But right now we're just kind of settled into working from home.
Okay. Now, just out of curiosity, are you in, I I know you were in San Francisco. Are you still in the Bay Area, or are you in Oregon now?
No, I'm currently up in Oregon.
Okay.
Right in Beaverton. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. So give us a little background. I'm not going to steal your thunder. Give us a little background because everybody complains about from the load boards and people focusing on the broker side, but you're focused on carriers, right? But you understand the brokerage a little bit.
Yeah. I'm focused on I guess we call them internally like carrier customers. So my focus is understanding how, what products we're building, how will they use them, what value do they bring to them. And because of TAT structure, it being a marketplace, we have, one side is the carrier and the other side is the broker. I have spent some time understanding kind of the broker side of things as well. And I would say that, from a personal background, I'm new to the industry. I've been doing this probably for about 4 years now, working in the freight space. And before DAT, I came from Uber Freight, which I guess you could technically say is a broker. So I would have that broker background there, but I was largely focused on the carrier side, working for, creating products for those carriers. So that was my focus there as well.
Okay, great. So exciting things going on your side. So if you want, I know you got some things. So book it now. That's one of the new things that has come out. That's pretty exciting. What are some of the other things you guys have brought out or you've improved upon here in the recent months?
Yeah, I think the one of the products that we've launched is Book Now. We cut the it out of it from our version, and that's a long story, probably not worth this conversation. But it's so Book Now is our solution, and it's essentially we've opened up another channel for carriers and brokers to interact on DAT, and negotiate for a load, and we still offer the option to call in. We still offer the option to email, those brokers to negotiate. But then now we have an additional channel, which is a button on the DAT load board. And so you can select that button. And we have 5 initial beta partners that we've been testing with for the past month that have been posting what we're calling Book Now enabled loads. And so we've kind of been working with both sides, both the brokers, the beta customers, with, kind of figuring out what is it that they need and to post those loads or to be, confident to engage a Book Now capabilities. And then we're working with carriers, say, hey, what are you guys seeing on your end? Is this, why are you booking Book Now? And we understand that the value is that it can save you time, the negotiation process. I think that's been clearly identified. And, obviously you can go and click a button if you like the price, the details match your preferences and it's going where you want to go. We understand that that'll save you time versus like jumping on a phone call or emailing back and forth with a broker to negotiate. But what we're trying to understand is, what's the strategy that goes on both sides to find a load that they need, and making sure that we're encouraging that type of behavior, because we don't want to build a product or a feature that no one's going to use. Our top priority since day one for Book Now has been, what we're calling adoption. So we're trying to make sure that it's, it's favorable for both sides. And then beyond Book Now, Book Now is kind of our first step into this, it's not our first step, but it's our most prominent step into this digital freight matching, which is kind of a new, I would say the past couple of years has been a new theme here, where as a service, we're trying to provide as many tools as possible to, connect people to do business. And so if we can save you time by offering you suggestions or giving you a button to click, we think that'll help you, focus less on finding a load and focus more on improving your relationships with your business partners. And so beyond Book Now, we've been working really hard on our data products, or providing more rate and analytics for everyone to kind of understand where the market is going. And I think like with the COVID and the pandemic, it's very unsettling times. So we're just trying to provide that some goalposts or some ranges in which people can make those business decisions. And so that's kind of been DAT's focus here in the past couple of months on really getting those products out, because we think it helps everyone to have more information and to have easier, processes to do business.
Excellent. So I got a question, and you may have mentioned it in there. But first, start off a couple things here. I'm told by a couple people that you may not, or people out there watching this may not be able to see me right now. So, but it sounds like Todd is up there, which is the important part. The second thing is please make sure comments, and as I had on the scroll, we're going live to Facebook and YouTube. So we're going to try to put up comments as they come up and questions that you may have for Todd as you have them. We'll put them up on the screen so other channels will be able to see them. If someone has something on YouTube, you won't be able to see it on Facebook. For example, El Chino said, "Hey, hello, El Chino. Thanks for checking in there." So we'll try to do that as we get going along here. So thank you, everybody, as far as for joining us out there. Question on Book Now. I know in the past, and I know this wasn't your product, but when I was booking freight, there was an offering where you could make an offer on loads. And for some reason, it seemed like the offers went into the marketing department. It was like it became almost worthless and a joke, and nobody used it because you never got a response. So you got this great tool to be able to go out there and make the offer, but then nothing happens. Now, is Book Now an automated process? So just like any of the other digital brokers, someone says, yeah, I'm going to accept this load at this rate, and if you're set up, you're good to go. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So our solution, what sets it apart from other solutions out there is we've worked closely with the brokerages to build out their processes. And so we've left it up to them whether they want to offer quotes or, counters on the posted rate. And, they've got the brokers, the beta customers have decided whether they want to offer that or not. So actually we see a range of experiences through our Book Now. We have on one side of the Book Now range, we have a brokerage partner that once you click the button on DAT's load board, that is yours. It's yours, like from that click of the button. We were seeing so many accidental clicks on that we had to add like a warning message because it was so fast. And then from the other side, we have partners that want to have a few more additional steps to collect some information. And so you can imagine, like, as we've created additional experiences, and we have these 5 partners that those experiences have kind of varied, and them being our initial kind of guinea pigs in this process, we've worked to kind of standardize that a little bit more so that there's more of a smooth experience. So to answer your question in a long way, it's like, yeah, we do offer, there are counters available through our Book Now solution, the way that we have it set up now. And this is our first phase. We completely on the roadmap, on our product roadmap, we want to offer the ability to book now on DAT as well in the future. So those that maybe don't have, a TMS, like a smaller broker or so could just use our service to do so. Or if you don't want, let's say a larger broker doesn't want them to go onto their own platform, then they would be able to offer that through DAT as well. Gotcha.
Yeah, I know it was several years ago in Dallas. I sat down to kind of focus and working with some guys, and I said, "You guys are gonna. It's got to be, this digital brokerage is these small guys aren't going to be able to really compete in this." In this digital brokerage space, and it's going to have to be someone like DAT that comes out with a product like this. So I'm glad to see you're doing that, because to a certain level, it will, for those who want to compete in that space. I know there's lots of debate on whether or not that space is viable or not. I tend to be one that I've seen it work very well in other segments of this industry and the expediting side. So I see how it can work well. But there's a lot of people that just don't like that. So for those that can and want to get into it and don't have the capital to build their own system, I'm glad to see you guys are stepping up to the plate on that. So
yeah, I think for us, we don't really believe there's like a one size fits all like solution when it comes to digital freight matching. I know a lot of other offerings might force you down a certain path or a certain way to interact. Let's say you interact with a carrier. From a broker standpoint. But we thought the initial guideline for us is like, one, we want to work with our customers on both sides to understand what they want, build that solution for them, and then kind of iterate and learn as we go. And I think that's for us has been kind of the difference that we want to offer here is that, hey, you know your business better than us. You have a certain way of operating. Let us find a solution that works within that model that you have versus forcing you down like a one-size-fits-all product that people may or may not use.
Gotcha. Is this something that's easy to demo? Could you share your screen and show us what we're looking at here? Or is that more of a live thing?
Yeah, I think it's more of a live thing. I was trying to get the demo available, but for your customers, because the experience varies from brokerage to brokerage. I don't know like how beneficial it'll be, but anyone that uses DAT when they're searching the load board, you can search for loads in your lanes and then sort by book now, and it's a button that shows up on the load board. It's very prominent. You'll be able to see it. And you'll be able to click through and depending on which brokerage it is, you'll have a different experience to follow. And don't worry if you don't have an agreement with them, through all of our partners basically have a way to sign up with them in that process and then you can go through and book the load once that agreement's in place. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. So what's one of the other things that's coming out that you have brought out that you can help the small guy out?
Yeah, let's see. Let me pull this up real quick. I think one of the reasons, I think we're jumping on the show is that we're offering like a promotion. I'm going to try this share screen through.
Yeah, if you do, I can, once it comes up, I can pop it up on the screen for you.
Share screens is easiest to do. Okay. Let's try this. Application. Oh, cool. Yeah, this is all right. Can you see my screen now?
There we go.
Yeah, I know we're doing a promotion right now where we're offering, I think it's 2 weeks of power, and then 30 days, 15, free days of power and 30 days of Trucker's Edge, our product. And so,
interrupt you there. If you want that in the description of, with these shows, there's a link to get you that 15 free days or 30 free days, depending on which direction you go. So made sure that's available for you already.
Perfect. And, if you want to try out Power, which is our premium product, it comes with our Rate View product, which will give you more information, more data on like lanes that you're looking at. And so, for example, if we wanted to, I'm just going to do a quick search here. Let's do Dallas here to run a quick search. We provide data and information around, any particular lane that you're looking at. And I know, especially during kind of the COVID and the pandemic, it's kind of things have been all over the place. And so trying to get a grasp of like what, the value of a certain lane or a price or rate, it's important to kind of maybe be equipped with those tools. And so we provide these to kind of better inform both sides of the marketplace on what, historically what those rates have been. And so we have some sliders here that you can play with, like the range in which you want to look at. You can decide if you want to, how zeroed in that market you want to look, from a 3-day digit zip code to a certain region, and you can open these up. And this is based on, actual rates that, our customers are providing us, so that, we can provide this information back to you so you can make an informed decision. And we have this from a single lane. You can also look, national. You can kind of look at where the rates are going, and, have more information at your fingertips through our Power product.
Yeah, and I'm not sure when you guys made the upgrade on that, but as far as having that range out there, because that's one of the things I used to preach to drivers out there when we were training them how to book freight, is that the average is an average. There's almost just as many, and a lot of times there's more loads that fall in a rate above the average than there are that fall below. So to look at the average and say, oh, well, that's kind of the rate I'm targeting, that range, I think, gives them the visual representation to say, hey, there's freight that books at much, above this right here. So I think that's a great reminder for people of what they need to be looking to book at higher rates and not focus on the average.
Yeah, one of the products that I was telling you about was this, RateCast that's, there to give you, some insights into kind of the future here. And, we're not setting these rates, we're not telling people how to set their rates. We're just trying to provide this information, these facts that we're receiving. Basically this is rate information that we receive from both shippers, brokers, carriers. They provide this to us, and then we try to provide, we clean it up, we normalize it, we try to put it into a way that customers can then ingest it and take action off of it, or not, right? It's up to you. Most people know their business, they know certain prices, certain rates. We're just here. This is additional information to keep you more informed in the negotiation process, or even how, trying to figure out if you want, whatever you want to do from this information. But I just wanted to highlight that, this is a 70%, we believe that the rate will fall within this range, 70% of the time. So we're providing you our confidence level of this information, to help you make that business decision.
And I'm looking at here on mine, that's as far as a pretty small there, but I'm looking at this lane you're at right now. We're looking at a high, coming up close to $1.48 with a low in the $1.28, if I'm seeing that right.
Yep, that's correct.
You got a 20 cent split on there as far as where that's going to fall in. So that should really give everybody a pretty good indicator of don't stick to that solid line of what you're looking for, that there's freight above that line. And then there's going to be those people that, hey, they just got to get back to that market to pick up their dedicated freight, and they just don't want to be stuck, that are going to take those lower rates. So if you're looking for getting the best rate, you can actually negotiate above that dark line there. So that's great. So what else you have out there that you've been showing people, or that you're pushing out there for people?
Yeah, that was that's kind of the one demo there, that I wanted to show that I have. And then from a DAT perspective, we have I have a few things that we know are coming out, that we can't really go into too much detail because we want to have like a bigger, pop from an announcement standpoint. But we're definitely taking a visit to our product, and we're thinking about the customers in mind and their experience. So we have a lot of cool things coming out, from a user experience down to making it easier for you to get all the information that you need. So I'm pretty excited about that, and those things will come later in the summer. Also very excited to continue to work with Book Now and iterate and add more. We're at the point at the end of this month where we're going to open up beta, and so we'll have more of our brokers that will be posting Book Now loads to our platform. So I'm excited to continue to work with that product and continue to make other channels that you can do business on. So that's kind of the focus for DAT now, is how do we provide more insights, how do we clear up some uncertainties, and then how do we provide the tools that can help you take action on those decisions faster.
Yeah, it's be very interesting to see what you have coming out, and make sure we get you on here. We can even do a special day if we need to on when you guys announce some of those features, get you on here to talk about that, make sure everybody sees what's going on and promote that. We had an interesting conversation yesterday about rates and about posting rates. And so with Book Now, they have to post a rate in order to do that, correct? So
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we understand. We read the feedback, and we understand that, if you have a rate posted, it's definitely beneficial, for the carrier, and helping them make a decision if they want to engage with that posted load. And so one of the things that we're doing is with Book Now, there's certain load details and rates are required to post those types of loads, so that the loads that are coming through book now, there's a level of security there that that the broker has the load, that they're actually trying to move it, and those states are real, I guess. So I mean, that's one of the side effects, I guess, of Book Now, which is, it was a focus from providing that product, but it's encouraging more information, rate information as well up front, so that you can just go through and book it. So you don't have to like call up and check in or negotiate or fish for information. And I'm excited to see, as we've worked with our beta partners, we've seen, I won't share like which partner it was, but we know one that it wasn't a habit of theirs to post the actual rate on the loads, and they have totally changed, kind of taken a 180 with their perspective, and their because they've been participating in Book Now, and they've seen the type of reaction that they've gotten, a positive reaction for those with those loads with posted rates, that they are completely rethinking their strategy.
Yeah, it's, I gotta say, and I know there's people out there that talk about as far as the posted rates, and when you talk about negotiations, there's that piece of almost the first person that makes the offer. For some reason, there's a thought that they lose. We talked about that. When do you get to where everybody feels like they've won? I used to use the posted rates as an indicator, and I used to watch certain markets. There's lots of things that we used to watch in a market, and watch the same market all the time. And how many loads were posted, how many trucks, a load to truck ratio, how many loads were posted with rates, and what the rates were on certain loads, and watching that. And we use those all as indicators to see what was happening in the market. And I used to do that, look at those rates. I tried to stay away from looking at the rates as what my offer was going to be. But I used to like to look at the rates to kind of see what the market was doing. If we saw more loads being posted with rates, we got a pretty good feel that the market was going in a carrier's direction. And then you could also see certain lanes that you knew what the average rate was. And if you're seeing them posted at a higher than average rate, that also gave you a pretty good indicator that that lane was tightening up for the market, which is always a good thing for the carrier. So it'd be interesting to see, as you get the Book Now feature with more loads coming out there, what's going to happen and what people are going to see with the rates on there. So excited to see what's going to go on. I got to jump on and take a look at that here in a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting because like in the industry, the behavior is to, keep your pricing information guarded, and it's all around the sense of, in the negotiation, winning, right? And,
Right.
Did I get this load for higher than it was offered, or, am I taking a loss? And to be honest, everyone knows what their rate is, like, to run their business, or they should know, right, how to be a profitable business. And to be honest, there's some loads you'll win on, some that you'll lose on, but as long as you're winning, like from a business perspective, you're winning more than you're losing, and you know your numbers, it should be, you can figure out which ones to take losses on. But with Book Now, what we're encouraging is not this, winning type of mentality. It's like, look, there's a cost to negotiating. Like, there's a time cost, there's an opportunity cost. You might have missed out on something else. And then there's kind of some insecurity there. And so if both sides can say, hey, I'm going to buy into this automated process and start coming closer to their, actual price versus, starting at a low, in a low number or high number, the whole industry should benefit from that, building that trust through, a digital product.
Yeah, and you're always going to get some of those that are, the rate per mile junkies. They focus on that, and they don't focus on any other number. That's what they focus on. They're going to be the ones that are probably not going to be as excited about this. But those that are looking at where they realize the true profitability of a carrier tends to fall into asset utilization, and you get yourself into a market where maybe the freight, maybe it's a little loose. And I talk to my friends as far as they're booking right now, and they're saying they can make a phone call and the load can be gone by the time someone picks up the phone. This is a great scenario where you can lock the load in before you have to pick up the phone if it's going to work for you. So I think
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if those, like, I know those there's a certain type of owner out, like a carrier out there that is a rate per mile junkie. But I don't know if they're necessarily going to lose, because when it comes down to it, what I would guess is you're going to see, higher than expected, prices being posted through Book Now, because brokers, if they're smart with it, right, they understand the value it costs to hire an employee, or to spend time negotiating, or to moving a load, to tendering that load. If they understand that value, what that costs them, why not post it? Why not add a little extra to have this move, than what they would normally do? They're
Right.
saving themselves. If it's within that range of what they're saving themselves, let's say it takes them an hour to move a load, and they don't want to pay, if they know the rate of an employee for that hour, they know their wiggle room on how to move this. As long as they trust that they're, pay. If it's not a competitive rate, people aren't going to pick it up. It's that simple. Like, if it's a low ball offer, it doesn't matter if it's like through Book Now or through a phone call or an email. Carriers aren't going to book it, and they know that, and it would be a waste of a broker's time to do that.
Yeah, and I think this transition, I would love to sit down with Bill over at Uber and find out what their numbers are on where they lose on how many loads they lose on compared in the market. But what's interesting, people will talk about that's the ultimate digital freight, right? Where it's, everything's being offered out there. You can negotiate that way and get your freight. I've got customers that I see that do a lot with Uber, and they do pretty well as far as with the rates. And just like we were talking yesterday about, certain brokers get this attitude of, oh, well, they're cheap, and they're just a cheap broker. But you talk to people who work with them and have a relationship, and they can do pretty well with those brokers that have a lot of freight. What's Uber? About a 750 million, 780 million run rate as of last quarter. So, they're a significant player out there. They're in this game. So it's not necessarily that because you're not getting on the phone negotiating that you're not going to get the best rate, because there's a lot of people that get really good money coming out of Uber. If you can get in, you can build a relationship, and you can get the freight at a decent rate. It just makes things a lot easier for everybody. Not to mention, it's cheaper. It's cheaper for the broker. You don't have to have.
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt you there, Bill. I was going to say that the, I look at it from, like stock market, right? Like, I think a basic strategy is trying to pick a winner and, holding on to a certain stock until it increases the value in which you bought it. And that's winning when the market goes up or when the prices increase. But there's also ways of making money when, the price of a stock decreases. So finding in those ways, through more complicated strategies. So finding those ways from in the freight marketplace or the spot market, trying to understand, like, hey, does this, if I take this for a certain price, does this reposition an asset or move me into a better market to get a better rate? I think you have to look, which is what DAT's hope is, to provide the tools that carriers can use to understand, how to position their company for long-term success. That's the idea, is like, how do you win when the market's going up and when the market's going down? And that's what we're hoping to provide. And I was going to say too, if you could ever get Bill to open up at Uber about any of those details, I would love to see that on your show as well.
Yeah. There's definitely a guy who's definitely jumped in and taken charge of something. I years ago, and the technology really wasn't around to be able to do it, but that model I've always thought would work well. There's a company called NLM. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they're in the expediting side. They're now owned by XPO. We're owned by Landstar, and they had this pretty much the same model with the limitations that technology would allow 10, 15 years ago. And the costs, they were actually able to work in a fixed cost model. So what I mean by that is they weren't working on a margin, percentage margin. They were working on their customers paid them per load. So whether $100, I don't know what that was, but whatever it was, but they were actually able to, I think if I remember right, and I don't want to be quoted on this, but I want to say I was hearing numbers in the 40 to 46 loads per employee range, which is kind of an unheard of number. And we're talking all in employees, kind of an unheard of number in the brokerage industry. But when you've got 1,000 loads a day and, maybe you've got 20 employees that have to get on the phone to deal with problems, that's a huge savings. You're bringing what you need in order to book a load. Like, back in 2015, I was hearing numbers from big brokers of $75, $80 a load is what it costs them just to book a load. You bring that down into the 20s, and that's a pretty big gap there that you're able to fill, that can either go back to the broker or not back to the broker, go back to the carrier, but that leaves you a lot more money left in the load.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you hit it right on the head.
So let's see. I'm not seeing anybody have any comments out there. Any questions you have for Todd? Please chime up here. Anything else you see? I know you can't talk about what's coming down the line. We know we got some things going on, but any other features you see? If somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I'm trying to make sure I get the best load or position myself the best I can," what's anything that jumps out at you that you would say point to at with your power board there to have them use?
Yeah, we covered like our kind of the just looking at my notes here to see if I have anything else. I would just say it kind of as a tail end to this, it's we're all in this together, from a carrier, broker, shipper side. We're, from a DAT's perspective, we're out here trying to figure out how to, help everyone grow their business, stay in business during this, economic time. So it's, that's kind of our focus on the features that you'll see, coming from us. But as anything else that sticks out in my mind, we have these promotion codes. Go out, go try it out. If anything, give it a shot for the next 30 days. If you're not a member of DAT, it couldn't hurt to have another avenue, another place to find freight, especially right now.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you for your time. I know we said we were looking at 30 minutes. We're coming on 40 here, but thank you for taking your time to jump on here. Love the artwork. Love to have you back on once we start to have some more announcements coming up and have you show some of the new features that are coming out. And for those of you who follow the Trucking MBA, or if you don't, if you're watching on YouTube, it's the Trucking MBA. So just search that on YouTube. It's VLocity Group on Facebook. That's the other one. On Facebook, make sure you follow us on that so you can get alerts to when we have these events coming up. And on YouTube, we're going to be doing a little more, start doing some demos on some of the features and getting some people who are using the boards every day and actually booking freight to give you out some of their hints coming in the coming weeks here. So, Todd, again, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to talking with you soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.